Now, this is Baruch, and back here in Boca Raton. Everybody got to know that Boca Raton this time of year and South Florida in general is the best weather, I think, in the United States you could possibly get. It's really, really pretty to be able to be out here. So we're going to learn, once again, the Tiva Kavanos. We're really getting into the concept of Purim, which is coming, Baruch Hashem. So we got to this place on page Yud Tes yesterday, which is beer the klipas of Haman Uvadim. Exactly what does Haman represent? We'll try to get a little bit of depth into it. We know that Haman represents a Molech, and we just saw a Molech in the Zohar this morning. Molech, the main thing that he wants to do is pervert the sexuality of Jews. The main thing that the Torah Jew needs to do is protect his bris. So, not easy. So Moloch is waiting for us. Bir klipas Haman Uvanov. So let's explain what's going on with him. Uvanayde, it's known. He Haman the Rasha Astrologos Gadol. He was a tremendous worshipper of the stars. Actually, was a scientist of the stars. Kanoide be'inyan v'yapel pur, and this is understand for the concept of where he threw a lot. Hua gorel. This word pur is a gorel. Miyom, the yom, from one day to the next. Now we have to understand the nature of astrology is the study of the cycles of the planets, the stars, the constellations, and the relationship to us here in Earth. But we also have this going on too. The Earth is a ball, and it's a big cycle of 24 hours moving, and everything else is moving. So the astrologer knows about this. Now the question is, when he says V'yapil Pur, and I'm not really sure of this idea, this is number 286, he says that he threw this pur, which is a lot, and it was able to correspond in some way to cycles. Now, let's look down here at the bottom and see where it says Kavar Gilu Lana Chazal. Now, the rabbis have already explained to us, or revealed to us, Shehaman the Rasha Astrologos Gadol. He was a great studier of the cycles of the stars. V'yado Chachmas HaKoichavim. He knew this. This is called the science of the stars. V'yado Mana Asa Lamala. So he understood what was going on, what was being made up above, because he is saying there's a type of ore of the Ein Sof Baruch Hu, which shines to us from the outside into us. So from the outside or onto us. This is where he stood his knowledge. So he knew how this flow was coming. Just in the same way as he threw, it sounds like dice or something like that, he threw his lot. Shehipil v'kabel ma'asav, that he threw it down, and he had a convention in the aspect, in the action, that's the word. V'kabel ma'asav l'fi omek yediyasa b'shinu ha'itim, and he had kavana as he threw this, and how this works I do not know, but we're getting a little bit of an understanding. So that he, using the depth of his knowledge of cycles, he's able to zone in on this pur. B'shinui ha'itim v'chazamanim. It has to do with the moments of the changings of times and moments. Now, we saw something about this before that we said in the time of the Erev Rav, that there were two different types of witches there. One, the greatest one, the ones that were able to zone in on the exact time when noon turned towards afternoon. That is the time of the beginning of Din. And that's the real power that they were able to do. The lesser witches amongst the Erev Rav were only able to work for 9.5 hours until midnight. So that's because then you really have Din around that you could see. But if you want to really harness Din, you got to go to the beginning. And here we have Haman. So Omek Yediyasa B'Shinu Ha'itim, he knew, understanding when one moment turned to the next. Miyom the yom and mechodesh to chodesh, from one day to the next, 1 month to the next. Beparacha godel kochel betuma ad ma'od. What is Amalek's real calling? He's the pimp. He's the man that brings you pornography. He's the one that brings filth into your society. That's how he makes his living. That's how he traps Jews. We have this in the Tikkun Zohar. Haman Avonim Kol Kol Eser Spheros. They have amongst themselves, they are the entire 10 spheros of the Klipa. So he said, Yizboyer Omek Atzes Haman. Now we understand really what Haman is trying to get at. He said these are the words of the Rav that we're reading here. The Lahavi Kliya al Sonechem shall Yisrael, in order to bring an ultimate destruction to their haters, and then he says of the Jews. Now let's see exactly how this phrase Sonechem shall Yisrael, they are the haters of the Jews, how'd it go? So he says, V'yadach b'chachmasa, he knew in his wisdom, Inyan miut hashkachaso yizbarach. This is the Kabbalah, the understanding of the Kabbalah, that there is a time when the hashgacha of Hashem Yisbarach is limited down al Yisrael b'yamim machem. At this particular time, this is the time of the Dormita, the Hiyos bebechinas Hashenu, so that the Jews, or that is a Zer Anpin in particular, falls into the position of sleep. Now, if you listen to the shir this morning on the Sifra Ditzniuta, you saw he went over it again. In a little more detail exactly how the Yichud, ultimate, where you're getting to the Yichud of Zachar B'Noach, which is that which brings tremendous blessing. However, part of the stage is a stage of darkness. And that's where Haman steps in. So he says, B'yamim machem l'hi yosef b'bechinas hashina, because at that moment Zer Anpin was in a situation called sleep. So that he saw, Haman saw this coming. How? I don't know. But he saw this coming. And so he thought in his heart, Ki hazman muchen, this is the moment to attack. La'aved sonechem shad Yisrael, to destroy sonechem, their haters, the Jews. V'zechu sod inyan v'kuach Haman im Achashverosh. Now this is a little piece. Maybe we'll pick it up today. Maybe we'll get it next time. This is the secret of the Inyan of the argument that Haman had with Achashverosh. In Ya'ala B'Yadim Eitzazu, if in fact they should be successful in this little piece of advice. V'heshiv lo Haman, and Haman answers, you say this deal will work? That's what it sounds like. So he said, V'heshiv lo Haman. Haman says, Yeshno Am, there is a people that we could apply this to. V'darshu Rabbeinu Zal, so now we have an explanation from our rabbis. Yashon, he's sleeping. Huha oloka shalachem, their God is sleeping. V'habenzeh, that's what Haman said to Achashverosh. Now let's see if we could pick up a little bit here in the Tivuk Kavanos. He said, we'll just read the light part here, explanation only. He said, Mekevit shohoya yodeya seder amidus olamos, because Haman understood how the chef of the Ein Sof Baruch Hu works. Umachba sheyada inyan adormita, and because of the fact that he understood that Zer Anpin will have a moment. There is a period in the cycle of reality where Zer Anpin will be dark. He be sleeping. Because the energy that he gets, which is called the mochin of Abba Ve'ima, which are inside of him, and panimi to him, and powerful inside of him, Bisman at this time, that they leave him. Siluk mochin mizah. Bisman shall sof agalos, at the time of the end of the galos, kadesh yuchlu zun lachser pone bepone, because at the end of the galos, of course, that's when zun becomes pone bepone, face to face for yichud. Okay, which is Zer Anpin betar dema. So therefore, since Zer Anpin in his sleep, yesh inyan shel miyat hashgachas Hashem, there's an aspect of the fact that Hashem is not looking so closely. Yisbarach. Al Yisrael, but on the Jewish people, mitzad Zer Anpin, from the side of Zer Anpin, kaviyachol l'chein, chashiv alivo, so therefore, Haman thought in his heart, Now's the moment. Shazman muchen shi'ala beyado. This is the time when he could destroy the Hashmidim chaz v'sholom. So we understand now from this that it is Hitler. Hitler, in fact, does want to kill us out, but he uses here, Haman, the devices that he uses. So this is the argument that Achashverosh gave to Haman. So we're going to see this. He says, because Achashverosh was afraid of Kodesh Baruch. She is not game bo that he will take vengeance on Achashverosh. Just like he's done to everyone who comes against the Jews. So he said, well, there is one special people. So the Chazals explain like this. She'amar Elokechem shel elu yasha. So he says, Yeshno am echad. You could translate the word Yeshno as if there is one special people as Yeshano, sleeping. Elokechem shel elu yashon. V'chavbir hu kenizker. That's just like we said before, and this is the Kabbalah, this is the secret. Zer Anpin hu ata b'matzav shel dormita, that Zer Anpin has come into a position of dormita. If you listened to that shir this morning, you were zeichel to absorb it, then you really saw how this works. Shehuba b'china shina, it's a concept of shina. Shina precedes the building up of the female aspect, and then we go on. So this is the proof. Shel Haman l'chashverosh to hachashverosh she'ala atzasa beyadim, that they will have success. This is Baruch Fleischman. This is the second shir in the ARI Kodesh, Parshas on the Kavanos of Purim.